That's an important point to emphasize. When you set up a municipal services corporation, you have the option of a variety of structures. Wasaga Distribution is arm's length from council. You do have members of council sit on it, but there are also independent third-party residents or experts that sit on that board. In the interest of transparency, we have said this would be made up of only members of council so that again, we think this is the closest to council, the closest to the people, and also that we would have regular updates through council. So there should not be any surprises about any of the activity that's going on. It is not arm's length. It's held close to council. That is the most transparent way to set up a municipal services corporation, and we've done that very deliberately.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And I'll just add to that. And the reason that we have done that is because it is made up of council. Any meeting of all members or a majority of council has to be a public meeting open to the public. And so this will ensure that. Where if you look at Wasaga Distribution or Geosands and many other municipal corporations that aren't set up that way, they do not have to be open to the public. Or open to public participation. It's exactly why we've done it the way we've done it, using council, so as that there is an open door, an open window for the public to see what's happening here. All right, Councillor DeLeo.
Thank you, through you, Mr. Mayor. This is more of a curiosity question. It was mentioned many times, like several times during this conversation, about other municipalities having municipal services corporations. Can you give me an example of one that is similar build to what we're doing on the beach, like in the Simcoe area? Because you mentioned all across Ontario and Canada. Is there anything similar in County of Simcoe, a build on the beach, like with their beach? Is there something similar?
I would think, Councillor, sorry, Andrew, I think, Councillor, if you want to hold it specifically to a beach, I'm sure there are. Perhaps maybe Mississauga may have a corporation that looks after their waterfront. But Wasaga Beach is the longest freshwater beach in the world and is very unique. When we say there are municipal corporations across the province, and if not the country, municipal corporations are set up for many different reasons. Just happens that this one is to deal with our beachfront redevelopment, and this particular project was Sunray. You could have multiples, but to be able to give you a primary or a specific example of another community like Wasaga Beach dealing with what we're dealing with on our beachfront, we could look for that. But for municipal corporations, give you all the examples in the world. Andrew, go ahead.
Yeah, so Mr. Mayor, again, Wasaga Beach is unique, but I will give you examples of waterfront communities that have set up municipal services corporations. Waterfront Toronto has been an MSC for decades and decades. Used to be called Build Toronto. So that is actually an MSC that involves not only the municipality, but the province and the federal government to drive redevelopment of key stretches of Toronto's waterfront. Burlington has had a municipal services corporation redeveloping their waterfront for decades. Hamilton has a municipal services corporation redeveloping their waterfront. I could go on and on and on. These are not unique. Innisfil, I believe, has one. I believe Bradford, West Gwillimbury has one. You can set up MSCs for various uses. If memory serves, I believe Bradford uses theirs for their utility. So it's not limited to development, but the most common use is for development. Very commonplace across the country. Toronto has the most because, again, they use it for all their parking structures in addition to redevelopment. Mississauga, when I worked there previously, was looking into creating one. I can't recall if they actually formalized it, but they were looking to create one to redevelop their waterfront. It's a very commonplace tool. It is deliberately created by the province of Ontario through the Municipal Act for these types of situations. That's why the province encourages it. You're not allowed to make a profit. You are not allowed to enter into joint ventures without an MSC being created. It's a tool that the province anticipated and then they encourage us to use. So again, nothing out of the normal here. We've had one in place with Wasaga Distribution for many decades.
Thank you,
Okay.
Andrew. Anything
Thank you.
further, Councillor Doyle?
No, that's good. Thank you.
Please remember to put your hand down. All right, other questions or comments from members of council? All right, I just have a few. I think it's also important to point out that any of these types of corporations or deals are, looked after for the town of Wasaga Beach by the best law firms in the country. We have high-priced lawyers that are looking after setting up this corporation and ensuring that the town of Wasaga Beach and our taxpayers are protected, and that it is done right and it is done in such a way that benefits the municipality first and foremost. This isn't just some staff sitting around a table with a member or two of council trying to figure out how we should set this up. This takes a lot of time, a lot of effort, and some significant dollars to do so. The information that you see out there, that this is costing taxpayers. Raising Beach Drive is costing taxpayers. It's important to note that the raising of Beach Drive not only now will be paid for with $10.95 million from the province, and some people would say, well, there's only one taxpayer, and I couldn't agree more. But I would say to that, as I've said before, I would much rather that the province take the tax dollars we send them and reinvest them in our community versus any other community. So this is a very good thing and a very positive thing. With respect to the remaining costs on raising Beach Drive, and the raising of Beach Drive is not this council's brainchild. This has been talked about for several councils and was significantly implemented with the last council. But it's being paid for through DCs, development charges. It's not tax dollars. The developers, in paying development charges on every unit they build and sell, not only here but throughout this community, those funds are put into reserves, and those reserves are very specific, and those funds can only be used for specific reasons. We can't just pull funds from a reserve to use for any willy-nilly thing it is we want to use it for. So the DCs will pay for the rest of the raising of Beach Drive and the infrastructure, along with developers who are also contributing to, over and above the DCs, to some of the infrastructure. So it's important to be clear. We're not raising your taxes to pay for Beach Drive. That comes from the development charges that are charged on every property throughout this municipality, every build, as we move forward, put into reserves to be used for these types of things. We'll now draw down the reserves, use those funds, and DCs will continue to build the reserves back up. The great news here, again, the province with $10.95 million, that now leaves $10.95 million of reserves that we can use for infrastructure perhaps somewhere else in our community, that we don't have to worry about finding those dollars from taxpayers or from taxes. And I'll just touch that, council being elected. This isn't new in this term of council or in this country. You elect governments and people to government to represent you and to do a job for you for a term of time. In this case, it's 4 years. And I am proud and I am grateful for the people who voted and elected this council. And this council is progressive. We're moving forward. We're moving forward much faster than previous councils, including my previous council. I don't mind sitting here saying I wish we had been able to move faster, because we would not be sitting here today. This would all be done and built out. And it's the few people out there who want to continue to talk about, how much consultation we haven't done. But they never talk about the consultation we have done. About now, take more time, take more time. Well, I can tell you that I hear from taxpayers in this community every day, every week, every month, to get moving. Enough is enough. We have taken all the time in the world. This all started back in 2007 when the fire happened. People think that's when this all began. Well, I can tell you it was long before that. We have a video out there on social media put out by a longtime member, born and raised, I believe, resident, Mike Miller, where, our longest serving mayor Mayor Walter Borthwick, was on, at that time, CKVR, which is now CTV Barrie, talking about, they were at the auction and the sale of all the properties and whatnot of Playland Park and the Midway and the rides, and talking about, bringing a casino and a hotel. And his words were, although there's melancholy here and some sadness, this is actually us moving forward. So this goes back for decades, folks. And I'm proud to sit here as the mayor and with this council and be moving forward. And there are always going to be people out there for political aspirations and reasons, or that don't agree with the plan. There are things that happen that governments and municipalities do that I don't agree with. But I don't make a point to go out and mislead the public and push misinformation to create something that just simply isn't there. So I would encourage all members of council to support this, and let's move forward, and let's get this all done, and let's create a Wasaga Beach that is a better place to live, work, learn, and play for all of our residents. We have had nothing but great news throughout this term of council, through hard work and dedication of council and the team. And when I say the team, I talk about every single individual that works for the town of Wasaga Beach. I talk about the lawyers. I talk about, the experts and professionals in design. There's a lot of work that's gone into this, and not just in this term of council, but for previous councils, several of them. We're now at a point in time where it's time to just move forward and get it done. And now there are going to be people who say, oh, you're just moving forward because you want to get it done. Well, I'll say, yes, I do want to get it done. I believe council wants to get it done. And I believe we've been open and transparent. We've had tons of consultations over the years, including this past year and now in this year. And we can never make everybody happy. And so I encourage everyone to vote in favor and to move this forward. With that, I will read the recommended motion.
Okay, Mr. Mayor, could I
Sorry,
add two
please,
points?
Andrew, go ahead, yes.
Yeah, I just wanted to add 2 quick points. I support everything you just said. I wanted to also remind the community that trying to bring a hotel goes back decades. Mayor Patterson put out an RFP trying to bring a hotel to our beachfront. We now have something that is real. So this is not new, that we've been trying to do this for decades. The one point I also wanted to mention, I don't often jump into social media, but on the weekend I had to, because there was a comment being made that the taxpayers are on the hook for an additional $20 to $30 million in infrastructure services above and beyond Beach Drive. That is absolutely incorrect. It is not true. So I wanted that point to be very clear to the community. There is not this magic $20 to $30 million that we're secretly hiding somewhere. That is incorrect and false. Thank you.
Thank you very much. And so worth pointing out, you're right, going back many years and trying to find a hotel, and in previous councils where councils were offering Beach Area 2 lands for free for a developer to come forward and build something. So, we talk about the purchase, we talk about the sale now and the profitability that is going to be there. It wasn't long ago that councils were looking to give this land, private beachfront land, away for free and couldn't attract someone here to do something. There's been a lot of hard work here by a lot of people, and I believe we've got some great partners here, and it's time to move forward. The recommended motion is that the report titled Municipal Services Corporation Beachfront Development to the Council meeting of February 13, 2025 be received, and that Council adopt the business case for Build Wasaga as presented at the January 30th, 2025 Council meeting, and that Council direct staff to proceed to incorporate Build Wasaga as a municipal services corporation. Could I have a mover and a seconder for this, please? Moved by Councillor Belanger, seconded by Deputy Mayor Snell. Madam Clerk, could you
Thank you, Your Worship.
call the question on this?
Thank you. Because this item was pulled and would typically be considered under matters for consideration, we are going to proceed with a recorded vote accordingly. Councillor Belanger.
In favor.
Councillor DeLeo.
In favor.
Councillor Ego.
In favor.
Deputy Mayor Snell.
In favor.
Councillor Timms.
In favor.
Councillor White.
In favor.
Mayor Smith. Carries unanimously.